That's what's
Okay.
up. We
What's
are
up, everybody?
live. Yes. Yes.
What's going on? What happened? We've been live. Have you been hearing us? We didn't talk too much shit, did we?
No, not too much.
Oh,
Not
okay.
too much.
In case they were hearing us and shit.
No, not too much.
We love them anyway. We love everybody. We
Absolutely.
never talk shit about our viewers. Shit.
Absolutely.
Drive.
What's going on, good people? What's going on? Let's give them time to file on in and everything.
You know?
Send out the notifications.
Definitely.
Sorry, we went on a little bit late. We just had some technical difficulties, but we are back. We are here. Let's see, there we go. Yes, we are good. Good angle, brother. So we are good. We are good.
It's gonna be all right.
You gotta come down again.
It's gonna be all right. We're gonna work it all out. One way or another, we're gonna work it out.
Right.
We are live. So how's everybody been doing? What's been up since we all last got together and everything? What's new? What's the word?
Just a lovely Monday. That's
Yeah.
all. Lovely Monday. What's that?
Painful Monday for me.
Painful.
Painful? How so?
No, my back is fucked up.
Oh, we're
you,
sorry.
You need a bacchiotomy?
No, I had a back acumen, but it didn't go through right.
Lord.
That's why he's all fucked up now. It did work.
Yeah, I went to Brazil and got the back acumen. I shouldn't have done that.
Oh no, when you go to Brazil, you got some booty, but it didn't work. Oh, when you get a booty put on.
That's the only thing you go to Brazil for.
I can only afford one cheek, so.
Sorry, his back hurt. Too much weight for his ass. Too much weight for his new booty and shit.
That's rough there, y'all.
But he said he could only afford one cheek, so he can only make it clap with one hand.
Echo
So
low.
we got to keep that
Echo low.
sideways. That's funny. You sitting sideways the whole way back.
Sitting sideways, boys in the days.
So you gonna have permanent sciatica shit. Forever sciatica.
It's the size.
Man, so what's been up in terms of like what y'all been seeing in the news going on lately? What's been caught y'all attention recently?
We was all right about the Rittenhouse trial.
Right?
That's why it was no big deal.
Right, is exactly what we all expected. He was gonna get off, and
Right.
got off scot-free.
Right?
Not a single thing.
Right?
So
He was
I don't
defending
know.
himself. He was defending himself.
Oh, yeah.
White people attacked him.
But now, if it happens to anybody else,
You can get away with it.
you can literally pull up to an event that is not a violent event, it's a peaceful protest. You can have your weapons, and if you just so happen to get scared and shoot several people, nothing gonna happen to you.
Okay.
Or what about if you want to take your car and run through the crowd like that dude did?
Yeah, today, just last night.
Yeah, that's another dude.
Well,
Let's see if he get off.
was that was at a parade though, wasn't it?
That's a parade.
Yeah.
Christmas
I
parade.
still don't know the full details on that
No
one.
one does. They
'Cause
had-
man,
They had nothing better to
official
do.
statements. Other than the way that they've been characterizing the event has been through the violent history of the alleged perpetrator. It's his past. He has a lot of incidences of violent acts against other
That is
people.
what they were saying, yeah.
And the more I looked at him, you know, I really just would. The first thing that came to mind when I saw was a black dude. I was like, we didn't need this right now.
right, really.
We really didn't need this right now, you know? And to be more honest, he looked like he's got some mental health issues, especially based off his, you know, his past behavior.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting. But I do, my heart goes out to the family that it happened to, because he drove right by a little girl, man, like on one of the main videos. Man, little girl ain't no more than 4 years old. And she just sitting up there playing whatever, and you just see this red SUV just go right by. He just plowing in front of people in front of him. And I'm like, wow, man, that little baby just barely made it, man.
And it's what, 5 people dead?
Yeah, something
And
like
I forgot
that.
how many they said injured.
Something like that, man. Something like that.
That's crazy.
That is crazy,
My heart
man.
go out to those families. That's rough, man. Around Christmas time too,
Can you imagine? Like, you will never be able to go to that parade again.
man.
Not be right.
Every
For
time
real.
you hear about the parade, let alone now.
Right. You're gonna be traumatized.
Yeah.
Real.
You sure he wasn't protecting himself from somebody chasing him? And he just ran in him, so it's people behind him's fault.
It was
He
self-defense.
was self-defense. He was trying to get away from that.
But the difference is, he a little too dark for that apply to him. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A little too dark for that. That's not gonna apply to that man.
I know, right?
Oh,
Heck, I don't even think it would apply to anybody. No matter what color you are, you run through some people like that.
I don't know, man. They letting them shoot people in church and then take them to get breakfast.
Right.
You said a lot when you said that one, bruh.
No,
Man, I'm trying to tell you.
So why we mad then? This has been happening for a long time, so why we all upset about it?
Right.
This is normal America for us.
Because it's been happening
Simple
for
as
a
that.
long time. People keep getting tired of it, man.
You know?
That's really what it comes down to. It's
It's
like we
getting
like
worse.
nowadays. You got everything. Everybody's recording, so everybody's got a camera, so we're getting to see a lot of this. And people are saying, "It's." I hear the same thing over and over again. We say this been happening. Everybody else say, "I can't believe that's happening." We
Right.
go, but it's been happening, and we're tired of it. This is why we protest. This is why we say Black Lives Matter. This is this. This is that. People still go, "Oh, okay. Y'all shouldn't protest though. Y'all shouldn't take a knee. Y'all shouldn't do anything because everything you do is inappropriate or at the wrong time." You know, what was that? I saw a thing on the news this morning. Some high school here in Texas, Little Elm High School, I think was the name of it. The black kids were having a protest, or not even black kids, just the kids of the school in general were having a protest because of sexual harassment that was going on at the school. They said several girls had been sexually assaulted and sexually harassed. I don't know if it's by teachers or by other students. I don't know that particular detail, but they were having a protest because of it. So what winds up happening is the school calls in the police to calm things down. We all know how that went.
not good.
The very first video I saw of the incident was a cop. The cops had one kid in handcuffs. Another kid was talking to him. They tased that kid. Another kid walks up and trying to be like, "Hey, why are you tasing my friend?" They shove him, knock him down, but the police are there to calm things down. That's never been the case. So I don't know, man. It's crazy. We're
But
tired.
we're delusional. We're overly sensitive.
I saw something the other day. What was it?
It's crazy.
It was from back in slavery days, and it was they had come up with a condition that they said for slaves who were continuously trying to escape. They said that those slaves had a mental condition because they shouldn't be trying to escape. What's wrong with you? That's your natural place. I forgot what it was called. It was like drop theory or something like that. But they literally came up with a condition because you wanted to try and escape.
Do you hear the arrogance in that?
Why would you want to leave this place? You work hard, we feed you, and clothe you, and
Beat you?
you know, and you beating here and there.
We only beat you on the even number days.
You know.
And it's Christmas, so here's some pig ass. That's all you get. That's all
What's
you
the
get.
difference? What's the
Right.
difference in them saying you can't protest, you can't take a knee, you're wrong? It's the same shit.
It's the same thing.
It's the same
It's the
shit.
same thing. That's why they
When
tripping.
people say shit ain't changed, and then they go, "Oh, look at this and look at that."
That's why they're tripping right now over critical race theory,
I know.
or what they claim is critical race theory, which is really just teaching accurate history.
Right.
Because if you think about it, a lot of these parents and grandparents on that side right now are the same ones who was throwing rocks when they tried to integrate schools.
Right.
Now you just don't want your kids to learn that you was one of the ones throwing rocks when they
Right.
was integrating schools.
Right.
That's all that is.
Right.
You know,
That's exactly.
you
right.
don't want them to look at you in that light because you know once they see it, they're gonna go, "But Dad, wait a minute, you grew up during that time. You lived in that part of the country. Where was you when that was going on?" And that's gonna make you have to answer some uncomfortable questions.
That's absolutely correct.
That's all it is.
I was throwing rocks.
That's
son.
100% absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think at this point, when we start talking about stuff like that, that just further lets me know that we're not ready to have honest conversations about white supremacy.
Not at all.
Not at all.
That's what that just lets me know. And I can never ever blame an individual if them remaining in denial keeps them comfortable. I can't really blame them.
Right.
I mean, we all do that to some degree, but you will, that conversation is going to have to be had at some point in time. And the good part about it is, like, they think I'm being promoting racism or anything like that when I say this, but I really believe the answer to getting rid of white supremacy, we need more interracial babies.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We need more interracial babies. We need more skin in the game.
Yeah.
Because as long as you're not involved, you're still going to be one step removed from the problem.
When it's right there, when it's in your family,
Now
in
it's
your
here.
bloodline, when
You
it's
know.
sitting at the Thanksgiving table next to you,
Now it's here,
now it's here.
So that's what I believe, period.
I can't argue with the logic, brother. I definitely can't argue with the
I ain't
logic.
the only one, man. There's a lot of people out there that believe that, man.
But you have the counter argument like Dr. Umar Johnson and countless before him that don't believe in interracial relationships because of the power and the financial shift that happens.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a point.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hell of a point. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. What you think, Brother Los?
I don't know, man. That's just the way it's been.
Regardless, either way,
That's just the way it's
either
been.
way,
That's
the
the way it is.
conversation gotta be had, man.
They're not ready
Gotta be.
to listen though.
Yeah.
I would like to know, are people paying attention to this, what's his name, Arbery, what's his name?
Ahmaud Arbery.
Ahmaud Arbery. If people are paying as much attention to that case as there was the case of this Rittenhouse, and I'm talking about the people that was for Rittenhouse, I hope they're paying attention.
But they're probably not.
Absolutely,
They don't give a damn.
absolutely,
They're probably not.
absolutely,
They're not gonna care until
absolutely.
those dudes get convicted, which I actually think there's a chance they might get convicted. I think there's a chance. Because I don't know if you saw it in testimony, but the son, because it's a father, a son, and a best friend. The son was on the stand, and that defense lawyer, the prosecutor ate him up,
Really?
got him to admit basically, and had him say it several times. So he posed no threat to you. Right. So he didn't have a weapon of any kind. Right. You didn't see him do anything wrong.
Right.
No. And she was asking these questions
Right.
almost point blank, and he was just giving honest answers. I guess
Can't
he
lie.
took that oath under, I'm
Can't
under
lie.
oath seriously, but he was giving honest answers.
Wow.
So I'm like, wow. I was like, dude, do you really realize what you just, admitted to? You just killed this dude for nothing, for being at the wrong place, and you happen to be the person y'all spotted.
Wow.
Maybe that's his way of repenting.
Maybe so.
He knows he needs to go to jail.
Maybe
He fucked
so.
that dude up for no reason, man.
He-
They might have played with him, and then
Yeah,
he's
man.
a law-abiding citizen. Well, guess what? Now you're at the top of this law shit.
Yeah.
No, you can't lie. Tell the truth. And that probably ate him up. He started telling the truth. Yeah, we killed that dude for no reason.
Guilty conscience.
Yeah. But then because he does that, he gets a lesser sentence.
See, that's
You're
my
the
whole
only one that-
point.
you're the only one that admitted it, so we're gonna give you 5 years, give the other ones life.
You let him off easy. Like, I'm sorry.
No, I know.
I
No, I
You
understand
let
that.
him off easy because that's a presupposes they have a conscience.
Right?
That's what I'm saying.
That
Right.
presupposes he has
exactly
a
what I
conscience.
was-
That mother,
Yes.
He didn't give a fuck.
he had no. That man had no conscience.
He didn't really
Right.
give a fuck.
That's
He
right.
did that for whatever selfish reasons involved him doing lesser time, if any.
And with that type of mentality, that's exactly why he answered as truthful as he did, because he still don't think he was wrong.
Exactly.
Right.
That man
Right.
ain't lying. He's showing you what he is.
No, he
That
didn't
man
have
has
none of that, but
conscience.
he shouldn't have did what he did. I'm
Right,
the
which
police.
has been black
Right.
and running.
That is nothing but a modern day lynching.
Oh yeah, that's exactly
Again.
what that was.
Again.
Another prime example.
And speaking of which, like I just want to address something, man, before we go on. But I gotta address this for real. Like, there's this thing, man, there's this belief that because black people kill an inordinate a number of other black people, that needs to be addressed before racial issues of white crime against black people.
But we don't.
I think That is two different conversations altogether.
Well, for one, that whole talking point on the black on black crime thing is made up.
Yeah.
First of all, it's been proven through studies that they've shown. People commit crimes against folks that they live around.
That's right.
America's segregated. Black folks live around black folks, white folks live around white folks, Hispanics live around Hispanics. That's what you do.
Absolutely.
We don't commit crime. I mean, the rate in as far as black on black crime is concerned is only barely higher than the rate on white crime.
There it is.
So if you want to talk about us having an issue with our crime against
Absolutely.
ourselves, let's talk about y'all's.
Absolutely.
And listen, and the
Absolutely.
only reason it's
Absolutely.
badly more is because of the conditions that we live in.
Thank you.
Versus the conditions they
They
live
live in. But that's what it really comes down to, man. Is
Should be talked about now.
it's not an
Agreed.
honest.
What did you say?
Whenever somebody brings up that black on black crime, it's not an honest
Yeah.
conversation. You already starting with a fallacy.
Are we ready to have real racial conversations?
Oh, right. Right.
He's absolutely correct. That shit does need to happen.
Even
now.
like he just
But
said,
we're not ready.
we do our own, black on black crime, white on black crime. Well, then why don't we protest that shit too? We're just letting niggas kill niggas. We don't protest that shit.
No, but we no
Well, when
because
somebody else from outside comes in, then we get all
that's the problem.
yo. Why don't we just stop killing each other first?
That's not
No,
the conversation.
but
That's
yeah.
not the conversation.
You know.
That's why I brought up the point you're making is the reason why I said what I said. You have to make sure you understand the difference. You're gonna always have that natural variable of violence of members within a group.
Right.
You're gonna always have that. It may be higher, may be lower, whatever, however way you do the distribution. But the point is that act is inherent in all society. So to make that a priority in terms of racial equality is to miss the conversation altogether.
on purpose.
On purpose.
You're not going anywhere beyond.
On purpose. Period. So if we got to deal with that, then we need to go over right now to Russia and deal with them in the Ukraine. We need to deal with that right now.
Right.
If we really caring about in-group violence,
They do it.
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If we're really caring about in-group
Right.
violence,
Then we already-
we all need to go rally to their cause right now. If that's just another thing, well, let's move past that shit so we can talk about what's affecting
Remember how
us.
we talked about how many they killed of themselves? How many they killed of themselves?
Absolutely,
So-
absolutely,
They killed a
absolutely.
lot of themselves before
Absolutely.
they got to where they are.
Absolutely. What he's talking about is we was having a conversation about how, now I need y'all to really follow me, how white supremacy as a consciousness, you can trace it in history. And you can trace it by its early, the level of violence you would see in, let's say, ancient Europe, if you will. Okay? And if you look at how violence moved throughout the formation of the West, different people got wiped out at different times, along that timeline.
People.
And it didn't involve niggas.
Right.
It really didn't. It was that same violent momentum behind white supremacy.
Right.
So sometimes you know about that thing is because you don't know who the fuck they wiped out before.
Right.
There's a lot of people they wiped out before. Are they racist? Shit. If you weren't Athenian, you were a barbarian.
Yeah.
We're looking at the same shit.
Which is the perfect segue.
Right?
The perfect segue.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
The perfect segue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It took me a minute to snap out of that one, dog. Yeah, it took me a minute to snap.
You know what?
out of
Before we go on, because we're gonna segue into what we're talking about.
The turkeys.
Right. We're gonna talk about the turkeys, but first, I want everybody to know that we got a store going on now. You can buy some of our gear,
Yes.
cups,
Mm.
shirts, a lot of different things. Christmas season is coming, so hey, be in the giving mood and support the brothers so we can
Most
get better because we got a
definitely,
lot of
most
things coming for you. You're gonna really
Got
enjoy.
a lot of stuff coming.
Yeah, I had posted something on Facebook, and you didn't see it though, but it's 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 my dash store dash, and then there's a number, so I should have wrote it down to show it, because it's quite long.
We can put the link in the description of the video later on.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that's
So
what
we'll
we'll
put the
do.
link in the description for y'all, so don't worry, you'll be able to go to it.
Yeah, so if you go on the Facebook page of us, it's on there somewhere too. I posted it on there already. It's just real long and you gotta get into it. But yeah, go in there, hey, gift time is coming, so we'd love to see our gear out and about. And like I said, it supports us a lot. We're bringing y'all.
And we got everything. We got the
we're
coffee
upgrading.
mugs.
Yeah,
We got the coffee mugs. We got the hoodies. We got the
We got
t-shirts,
pillows.
pillows. And thank you, Leah, for buying the first.
Thank you,
Yes,
man.
Leah.
Thank you, Leah, for buying the first one. Leah, so much.
Yes,
Thank you.
Yeah,
Love
we-
you.
We're gonna have a lot of incentives going on with the merchandise too, man. So we're gonna let y'all know what that is pretty soon. So y'all stay tuned. But yeah, go on that website, man. Grab something.
Get something.
And there is a limited edition poster that Los got on there too. Y'all better get it.
We're gonna
Get it while it's good.
That'll only be on there for a little while. If you're close to us, or even if you're not, if you get one of those, send it to us. We'll each sign it.
Yeah,
It'd be worth something even more for you.
Sure.
So hey, let me see some Daily Smoke gear out and about. So don't forget, we'll post that at the bottom of the list. So you can be able to go to the store. Yeah. So.
For real. You know what was good? Is you trusted me. You was like, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
What was up?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm all in.
Right.
I'm all in.
Right.
I'm all in. You know what I'm saying? I'm all in, man. I'm all in. Move it.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Move it.
That
Real,
was
baby.
beautiful, dog. That was beautiful. Man, so what's up, people, man? Yeah, we appreciate the support, man. We appreciate y'all for being here. And again, we appreciate y'all for hanging in. We know the last couple of episodes, man, we've been having technical problems. We trying to implement some new technology and cameras and stuff like that, man. So we've been having a little bit of difficulty, you know what I'm saying? So, but we're gonna get it popping. We're gonna get it popping. We're still a small unit. We still growing, you know what I'm saying? But we making headway.
Absolutely.
And if any of you out there can find episode 88, you let us know.
Yeah, for
Because it
real,
disappeared. We don't know where it's
man.
So if y'all not gonna find,
Somewhere
bring it to. We got something
So
good
what I
for
was
you.
thinking was, man, we take an extra day one day, man, just at the Wolves Den, and just film another one. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
cool.
And just
Right.
name that
I'm totally on
88.
board with that.
Right down.
You know what I'm saying?
Put it down as 88.
Yeah.
We
I'm
can
down.
we can show off Los's barbecue skills.
Right.
Right. Right.
Might have another store for y'all to go to.
Right.
Look, start our own line of barbecue
Right?
pits.
The Daily Smoke.
yes,
Perfect.
That's actually a barbecue.
Right.
Smoke barbecue.
Exactly.
Hey, coming soon.
See?
Hey, man. See? Yep.
Yeah,
That happened for a reason.
So yeah, stay with us, and a lot of big things are coming. A lot of changes. You're gonna really like what we're doing.
Absolutely.
Because it's all about you, so
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
we're gonna bring you
Absolutely.
something nice.
We're gonna have fun doing it too. Y'all gonna have fun. Y'all gonna love it. Yeah, man.
So that's why the support is very important.
So you smoking a turkey this year, Los? For
No.
Thanksgiving? No.
No.
John?
Oh, I am.
You are?
I'm Los hit me to the cherry wood for like
Oh,
like poultry. So I bought me some cherry wood. I got my bird already. I'm gonna brine it tomorrow, so it's gonna sit for 24 hours in that brine. Then I'm gonna put it on the pit with that cherry wood. We're gonna see what it do.
It should come out good.
Yeah, somebody stole my shit, so I can't smoke, so I have to do it in the oven.
Oh, that's
Damn.
So I have to do it in a roaster.
Telling you, man, brine it. Do a dry brine.
Yeah.
With I use sugar and salt, and you sit it in there for 24 hours. What I'm telling you, that bird come out so juicy, and that sugar caramelizes on the skin, so it makes the skin crispy.
The longer you brine it, the better.
Yeah, but you got to do it at least 24 hours. I find anything shorter than that, to me, it don't really have an effect. It don't really, that flavor don't soak in like it should.
Wow.
But it's good.
Oh, do they celebrate Thanksgiving in Puerto Rico?
Oh, they do.
Really?
Well, they do because, I mean, we're colonized, man. The Americans do.
Imported, yeah.
That's what they do. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure the people there way back in the days had some type of harvest festival or something like that, like they did over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as I know, it's pretty much like you in America, anyways.
When did you first start having like difference of opinion of the traditional Thanksgiving holiday?
No, once you got internet, you start learning more, and you start learning the truth about what it was.
Mm-hmm.
You
How old were
know,
you roughly?
I don't remember. I'd have been an adult by then, because as a kid, you don't know that's Thanksgiving. And then to me, you know, damn, what we were, y'all get to eat all kind of shit now. You know, pops and moms went out the way. So that's what, you know, this is what we do. This is what you do at this time of year. We took it more as it wasn't the tradition of that, and we got the way we did it. Ain't got nothing to do with no fucking pilgrims.
Yeah.
It had to do with thanking God for that we made it
Right.
another year and we can
Right.
feast now, and that's what it was.
Yeah,
It
right.
had nothing to do with pilgrims or nothing
Right.
like that, you know. I mean, I understand that's where it came from, but yet all these indigenous people, they had their own festivals during that time anyways. They had, you know, corn festivals and different things. So it's always been here. They just labeled it something else, but they lied about it. I mean, the only one that we learned about was the very first Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
After that, it was over.
And that shit wasn't fully true either.
Right. The very first one, that's the
What do you
only one
mean?
that they somewhat got together. And other than that, after that, woo.
What do you mean that wasn't fully true?
I mean, the image that you learn growing up in school, you know, the pilgrims and the Native Americans sitting down together, having a turkey and all of this kind of stuff, that's bull. First of all, the meal wouldn't have been turkey back then. I think they said most likely it would have been like venison, so they would have had like deer and fish would have been the main things. You would have had, of course, some corn, stuff like that, because the Native Americans had actually helped the pumpkin. They would have actually had, you know, they did actually help the colonists grow some things, and they had helped them over the course of that last year. So they did have some more traditional things that we think about when it comes to the like fruits and vegetables side of stuff. But the meat would have been deer and fish and eel. That was another thing they said they ate. They ate a lot of eel back then for some reason. Was a big food back then. But hell, but even that was really just a harvest celebration.
Right.
Because for those people at that time, the European colonists, Thanksgiving was something completely different.
Okay.
Thanksgiving was a day off where you spent the day fasting and in prayer.
Right.
Because they were super religious.
And that was an all-day thing.
Really?
You know
Like,
what I'm saying? Yeah.
So
you
Thanksgiving
had
was
time.
not a feast.
Right.
It was literally,
Like Ramadan.
yeah, you spent the whole day praying and thanking God and fasting.
Right.
Yeah. So that didn't actually become a national holiday till after Civil War. Lincoln was the one who put it in as a national holiday, but even back then it had been celebrated in some form of fashion by small groups, but nothing on a national scale. But he wanted to come up with something that was going to help try to bring the nation back together. So he figured a holiday where everybody would be, you know, being thankful, eating, and everybody's doing it all at one time. It's a good idea to help try to unite the nation back together again.
George Washington made it to where it was just one, because before that, it was a lot of massacre celebrations, what they were.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
They were like, instead of celebrating that, every time they had massacre, they celebrated Thanksgiving. And George Washington made
Are you
it.
serious?
And George Washington made it to, hey, let's just do it one time a year, not all the time every year. And then when he got to Lincoln, he made it a national holiday.
Yeah.
And then that very same day, went and massacred a whole bunch of Indians. Told them to come out and just kill them all.
Yeah.
That very same day he made it a national holiday, he went and massacred some of himself.
So our
Isn't that crazy?
Thanksgiving was celebrating our enemy's fall or defeat or whatever.
I think later on
That's
it
what it-
became
Like
That's
it's
what it
celebrating a
turned into.
massacre.
That's what it turned into after a certain point.
When was that point?
When actually I think it's what
When
he's
the
talking
Puritans
about.
showed up.
It was when it was time for one of those celebrations, and the pilgrims that came over, they didn't have the same relationship with the Indians that the pilgrims that had been there a while had.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when they came over, they started coming over by the droves because they started hearing like what they were
How
learning and
successful.
how successful
Yeah.
they-
And those were Puritans
Because-
came over in the name of God to come
Right.
this land. That's
Right,
what came
but
over.
when they came
And
over,
murdered
instead
everybody.
of trying to build a relationship,
They
and,
murdered them all.
and mind you, they didn't have no just, we holding hands and shit type of relationship with them. They literally were only cool with them because they was about to die out if they hadn't came and showed
They
them
showed
how
them
to survive.
How to
You know what I'm saying?
plant corn and fish and
Yeah,
everything.
showed them a
You
lot
show
of
these people how
stuff,
to
man.
fish. They don't know how to fish.
Yeah.
They came over on a damn boat. You don't know how to fish. What's wrong with you?
They came over for religious reasons, not because they were survivalists.
Mhm.
They might have been, working in factories or, doing stuff like that back in England. They came over here to thinking, okay, well, I guess maybe they thought, okay, there's going to be something there for us to work with. No, it's nothing here. Nothing here but natives. Nothing here but natives and some water. And that was all they found when they got here. But basically, like he was saying, is like they got into it. They helped them that 1 year. They helped them survive that 1 year. And they had kind of a peace treaty going on with the natives at that point. Well, when the new colonists started coming over, they didn't give a damn about any peace treaties or any agreements that you had with
They
this
came
other
to
group.
take land.
We don't care.
Yeah.
No, you on the land that we
Give
want.
me this shit.
Yeah.
Give me that.
They pretty much.
And you helped them that one time, but you set the stage for your own destruction by helping them.
You know how bad it was that the first Indian chief that was there, when they came over, they were killing these people so bad, they even killed that Indian chief and used their balls, their heads like soccer balls, kicking them around.
Yeah, they started
fucking crazy,
they
man.
started doing things where people would go out and because they were making the soccer balls with them, so they made it a thing to go out and get the heads so they could use
And
the
they would
skin
kick,
for
they
soccer
would kick
balls.
them all the way back with their heads rolling back. I was like, that's ridiculous. And you came over in the name of God, man. That's the devil to me, man. What the fuck you
the
talking
one
about?
the one that they called the very first Thanksgiving, at that Thanksgiving, the chief, the guy you're talking about,
Quado
right?
or something like
yeah,
that.
I can't remember his name,
Quado or
but
some shit like that.
that guy, the pilgrims started shooting, and they was out there shooting. They was celebrating. This was the day of that Thanksgiving, the first one, right? They were outside, and they started shooting their cannons and their guns and shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the natives, I forget the name of the tribe, but they gathered together and they went to go see what what the commotion was about, right? So when they get there, they're ready to defend themselves, but because they don't know what's really going on, but they ended up not having a confrontation, and they sat down with them and they ate, right? And so that's where the story comes in, that they had this big peaceful thing, right?
Gotcha.
And so when they sat down, they had that had dinner with me, lasted for like 3 days?
Yeah, I think it was 3 days.
Yeah, and so then in the future, when all of that other stuff happened, that's what I wanted to say. When they got there to see what was all the commotion about why they were shooting and stuff, they saw that they were celebrating, but they didn't have enough food, right?
Okay.
Because they I guess they invited them to stay or whatever. So that that chief sent his men to go bring back like 5 deer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, and stuff like that, so they could have more food.
Have a
You
feast,
know what I'm
make a
saying?
real feast out of it.
Right.
That same chief later on, those other ones that were coming over and they were greedy and all of that,
Yeah.
they cut his head off.
Kicking
and
it
put
down.
it-
Yeah,
No, they put his head on a spike
Mhm.
for like, I think they said 24 days straight or something like that. Put his head on it. They cut his head off and put it on the spike.
Wow.
It's crazy.
I mean, when you sit it back and think about, like, and I can understand definitely why Native Americans, look at this holiday and like, man, this is, some BS. But I think most people nowadays, it started off as a harvest festival, is really what it was. The name Thanksgiving didn't get attached to it till way later, but it was really just a harvest festival. Pagan culture's been doing that for centuries. You grow your food over the spring and the summer. You harvest in the fall. You're happy that you got this bountiful harvest. Hey, we're gonna have a party because we do it. Matter of fact, back in England, the harvest festivals got so rowdy that they would literally just turn into riots. And it got to a point where the church was like banning them because like, okay, y'all just getting too wild. You know, people was getting drunk and fighting and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So even before they got here, they was already messing it up.
Right.
But you know, actually, when you think about it, it's not too far from how we celebrate today. But people would just get rowdy, start fights and all this kind of stuff, man. It's crazy. But the name Thanksgiving didn't get attached to it till, like I said, till Lincoln really named it and made it an official holiday. But it was a harvest festival, you know. And even then, you would not have had that harvest if it hadn't have been for the fact that you received help. You couldn't even show respect to the people that helped you. You couldn't even eat. I mean, just as a group. I understand that first group that the Native Americans originally held, they held some level of respect for them.
Right.
But why couldn't that translate to the rest of your people? Because everything you showed them on how you survived, you learned from them. It's like, no, we know it now. That's okay. We'll kill you now. Thank you.
It's a shame that it took them to realize that we need to be friends with them. So that first set, they became somewhat cool with them.
Because the chief
Right.
back then didn't trust them.
Right, exactly. And these people helped you, right? Dude, when you okay. Hold on, I'm about to lose my thought.
That's bad.
That is bad. That is bad.
How old are you again?
You ain't more 40. Official.
Yeah. For real.
Official.
Now, one thing I did learn today was
It's gonna come back and I'm gonna say what I was gonna
one
say.
thing I did learn today researching this was I didn't know Indians were slaves.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Slaves.
Yeah. Before they figured out they could enslave us,
Yeah.
they tried it with the Native
They
Americans.
took
Yeah.
a bunch back to England, used them as slaves. They were
Your boy
treated
Squanto.
as
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Your boy Squanto, he
made
the-
it back.
They made a big deal out about him being able to speak English, but the
That's the
reason that
chief.
he was able to
That
speak
was the
English,
chief.
well, he wasn't a chief.
Nah,
They called him as he was their leader that understood it because he went and learned the languages.
Well, he
And
got
brought him
captured
back.
as a slave,
yeah.
taken over to England, and he was serving as a slave over
They
there.
learned English
That's
and
where he
everything.
learned English. Then he managed to get back over here, and of course, once he got back over here, I think he escaped, if I remember right.
I think so.
If I remember right, I think he escaped, and so he went and he met up with the tribe that wound up helping those first group of pilgrims. They didn't even trust him because they're like, you're not one of us. He wasn't from that tribe. But once they realized, okay, you know how to speak English and you can help us kind of deal with the problem that we have going on over here, they said, okay, well, we'll take you in because we need your help. He even tried to backstab the chief because once he realized how much power he had,
Yeah.
being the only one that could speak both languages,
Yeah.
he started trying to manipulate the white folks into helping him take over the tribe.
Wow.
So,
Well, that shit didn't work for him. either.
but they found out and
Wow.
it never came to fruition.
Yeah, that shit didn't work for him. either.
But
Right.
He should have came back from England like, yo guys, we got to go. They gonna kill us all. I've seen
Like,
shit
for
I've
real.
never seen
Right.
in my
Like, for
life,
real.
ever.
Like, for real,
They're
Los.
gonna kill
That's
us
real.
all.
Real.
That's
We need to
real.
get the fuck out of here.
That's
So the
real.
rest of it,
Right.
whoever
That's
we
real.
run into, like, yo,
Right.
these
That's
people
real.
that are coming, we're about to get wiped the fuck
That's
out.
real.
like I know
Like,
how
that's the
we
start
work.
building that
Like
shit.
we operate on a certain
Yeah.
level, they do not operate on that
No.
level.
Did you
That's
imagine the
real.
shock when he saw the buildings when he pulled into like the port?
Man.
Right.
The fuck am I? What the hell you want with these buildings? The fuck y'all got here? That was a whole new. That was a
I bet the
serious culture
smell
shock.
killed him alone.
That too.
That's what I was gonna say.
And the
And the dirtiness of it.
squalor of a European city during
Yeah.
that time.
That's-
Oh,
Yeah.
compared to how they used to live in, he must have thought they were the
Yeah.
filthiest things ever.
Yeah, right.
You
They
know?
had the power though.
Yeah, but they had the weapons. That was what it was.
They had the power.
Thank you for it.
That's crazy. That's why I always say I want to do a movie where it's the opposite, or not the opposite, but when they get here, we're over here in boats too with guns. Like, who the fuck are y'all?
Right.
There's land on the other side? Okay, thank you. You know,
We'll
thanks
be
for letting us
we'll
know.
be there shortly.
You know, so y'all need anything? Y'all can't land. I'm sorry, we got customs and shit. We'll bring you some food and get the
Right.
fuck on back to wherever you came from. You know, so yeah, that'd be fun.
So let me ask y'all a question. How do y'all feel celebrating the holiday, given like you know its history and everything, versus what they say it's really all about today? How do you all personally feel about the holiday?
I think honestly, man, most of us we don't celebrate it for the. I mean, you celebrate it because you're thankful of, you know, your family and whatever's going on. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think most of us pretty much no one's ever really sitting there thinking about what
The pilgrims
Thanksgiving really came from when we're celebrating these days, man.
Yeah.
I don't think it's been that way for a minute too.
And we repurpose it.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
It's just like Christmas. It's taken on its own
yeah,
meaning. Yeah, it may have been created with certain intentions or certain ideas behind it, but over time, it's come to mean its own thing. And I mean, me personally, Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday.
Is it?
It is because it's the one holiday that has something that I truly, truly care about. Food. I don't care about Christmas because I don't care about presents. I don't care about Valentine's Day because if I love you, I love you, and I'm gonna show you that any other time of the day, any other time of the year, and everything else on the calendar, you can leave it off. But Thanksgiving brings food to my table, and lots of it, and that makes me happy, and I'm thankful for that.
Merry Christmas,
That's
Easter
what's
Bunny.
I got
Merry
Thanksgiving.
That's
Christmas.
what's up.
I like that.
That's the cat. Is that
So we-
Thanksgiving? I got Thanksgiving
You
every
know
day.
Thanksgiving
Right.
means to him, big time.
Hey, I'm not fat by accident, brother. This is on purpose. It's hard work and dedication.
say word.
I
Say
was
Merry
for
Christmas,
me,
Easter
it's
Bunny.
something that my parents learned that was ingrained in them with the American coming over and taking over shit. And then as time went on, and I mean, going to school, okay, the pilgrims and all that, but I never even thought about that shit. Whether it was why we off there? I don't know, some pilgrims did some shit up in America, and I guess we're thankful for that. But as time went on, like you said, I wasn't thinking about that shit. I was just okay. If anything, it's the one day I can thank to be with my family and enjoy, just a meal together. It don't happen much often, and as you get older, you see that it gets further away. It's harder to get them back together. But
Yeah, we just
you never think about what it talks about. Now, I won't, when somebody talks about it, starts talking, I'll make sure to let them know, that pilgrim shit is bullshit, okay?
Mhm.
That's not what you learned, it's not right. So go look what really happened, Y'all were celebrating Massacre, so don't even talk that shit.
Charlie Brown was wrong.
What's interesting to me is nowadays you don't even have to tell kids. They already know.
Yeah.
First time I brought up something about the origins of Thanksgiving to my kids, they already knew about it. They didn't know. I'm not saying they was able to quote history or anything like that, but they already had an understanding. It's like, no, Dad, that's not. We know that's not how it was. And I was like, really? Okay. Well, tell me what you know. We had a conversation about it. It turned out to be a really interesting conversation. But I was thoroughly happy that on their own they had just come across enough knowledge to be able to figure out, that no, that story don't really hold water. So it's interesting. So nowadays, I think what you probably will wind up seeing is people acknowledging the Native American contribution to what the holiday should be,
Right.
more so than they have done in the past.
Well,
I think
would hope so.
that's what I mean. Nowadays, especially with social media being like it is, I think a lot of kids are being exposed to a lot of the crimes, really, that's just the best word for it. The crimes that were committed against the Native American population, and they're aware of it. Whereas we grew up, you didn't really think about it. You're like, oh, he's an Indian.
We didn't have internet.
Right. We didn't even realize that Indian was an offensive term to them. It was just such a common thing. Oh man, we playing cowboys and Indians. Okay.
Right.
Nowadays, the kids have at least a clue. Not Indian, Native American. If you're gonna call them anything, unless you know what tribe they're from or whatever, Native American at the very bare minimum. So it's interesting that how that perception is being changed, even just in a generation from us to the kids now. It's interesting. I think in a few years, you're probably going to see a lot more acknowledgement of the Native American contribution to this country around Thanksgiving, but as a whole as well, just across the board.
But also that's it, because it's so far away that it don't matter anymore. There are not that many of them left, so we can start talking about this. So there's not too many of them to
Go to
fucking
one
fuck with us.
casino.
You know, I mean, and there's still quite a bit there, but there's nothing gonna change. No matter what you say about these people, there's nothing gonna change. We don't give a fuck. We're not changing it. Yeah, okay, it was this dude. Yeah, okay, whoa, you know, Sacramento, she helped us. Other than that, that's not changing that shit. It's too far back. You know, like too far back. Look, they ain't did nothing with slavery, and it's even further back, or almost just, you know, a little later on, but nothing changes. It's like, keep going. Hey, like he said, we're gonna eat real good this week, and we don't have to cook for the rest of the weekend. We'll be leftovers the whole weekend.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know, so,
What does it mean to you?
It's time to eat.
right? Food. It's just Thursday, and there's more food on the table.
You get a day off work.
Yep,
So
yep.
it is.
What do y'all think? What does it mean to you? You know, whoever's out there, call in, type something. Tell us what you think. What Thanksgiving means to you.
The number's there, so.
I asked that question specifically of Los though, because if that's a mark, if we are aware that that's a period in time that happened to the detriment of a particular group that I identify with,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I would handle that being thrown in my face every year.
Yeah.
That's why I asked that question. I mean, not that I even hold his answer to whatever degree as being representative of what all Native Americans across the
Right.
northern and southern hemisphere
But
would
he's the
mean.
closest thing.
But I would just like to know an individual's, you know, their take on it. I would like to know the indigenous people that were here. Like, what is your feeling about
But you
that?
gotta think, we've been here for so long that we've been brainwashed to the way you guys think. You know, thinking the pilgrims, you know, not thinking what they're doing. They hid that for so many years. You know, and now, like I said, you know, so much years later, you know, what am I gonna do? They ain't gonna change it. So what they gonna do? Call it, you know, Indian Day or Native Day?
Native American.
Thanksgiving or something.
There's
I would name it the day it went wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's how I'm thinking
Or
about
name it.
it.
Look, today we celebrate, not celebrate, but today we, you know, we mourn. How many people they
would you
killed,
really?
You see what my calendar has marked for the day after?
right?
We lost people. They lost a continent.
Right. I would name it just operations as usual.
Right. Thanksgiving.
That's so much. They didn't lose a continent. They lost
Thanksgiving.
everything. Everything. They didn't lose just a continent. They lose 90 million people. Is a lot of people killed in one good storm.
Man, because you lost land, you lost languages,
They're almost
you
extinct.
lost
You lost almost
culture.
extinct. My people went extinct.
You know, you lost
bullshit.
all kinds of things just from some strangers showing up one day and saying, "Your home? Yeah, it's my home now."
I just couldn't see us, like if you reverse the situation, I couldn't see us celebrating in any way a holiday associated when they first started taking slaves out of Ghana.
Right.
Right.
Lynching Day or something
I don't-
like
I don't-
that.
Because
I can't-
they had a day where be let's be
I mean,
thankful for
anything
these
is-
people that came to help us, and you know,
I mean, anything
we just got fucked
associated
up, yeah.
with that horror story,
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
I'm not gonna celebrate it,
Right.
you know, and I just don't understand how people that have close ties and, you know, bloodline or whatever to the indigenous people here, I would see that as a slap in the face of civilization every day. Cause that's when it all started going wrong. We had all of this land.
And these people come over, we help them, and they kill us all.
Shit. That's why I wouldn't expect everybody to be angry. But I just would think that, you know, he who increases in wisdom increases in sorrow. And that's the truth of it.
Yeah.
That is the truth of it. That was the beginning of the slaughter.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with Jessica too. She says the meaning is either lost, wrong, or over commercialized.
Right.
She says she don't do that.
Right. Absolutely.
She's
Absolutely.
very right. That a lot of people have
Absolutely.
that mentality. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's crazy. That's the thing. Like he said with Christmas, I'm the goddamn Grinch. You see, I'm already wearing green.
Right.
I'm the green for Christmas because you know, I say, you know, especially you know when my daughter was away for so long, you know, back and forth. Some Christmas I didn't have her around. I didn't care. And back then, you know, I was poor. I'm like, man, I can't afford to get y'all nothing, so don't get me nothing, please. You're gonna make me feel real bad. So, I couldn't get y'all shit. You know, all I can do is come over and I'll cook for you, man. That's it. That's all I can do. You know, so I kind of like, and after a while, it's just, man, this is just go to the store, spend all this money, come there. Nobody really cares what it's about. I mean, there are people that do what it's the actual meaning of it, but you know, 90% of the world does is, hey, go buy, come spend some money.
It's funny how like holidays like that, like they celebrate Christmas in Japan,
Right on.
but it's not a Christian country.
Absolutely.
They eat. Matter of fact, their thing for Christmas is to go eat KFC fried chicken. That's what they do for Christmas.
That's their turkey.
We make big meals and everybody sits around. No, they want KFC fried chicken in Japan. But that's how holidays like that are now becoming universal. So you're gonna eventually at some point, I think you're gonna have the Native Americans take back the holiday and reclaim it in some form or fashion. What form that might take, I don't know.
The word nigga.
Yes.
That's a long ride.
It's a long ride. For real.
That's a long ride.
Okay.
That's fine.
But I think eventually they'll find a way to bring it back because the knowledge is out there now, and you have too many people talking about it. Too many Native Americans that I see even on social media, you know, are expressing their feelings about it, things like that. It'll change. It's just gonna take it's gonna take a while because it doesn't mean now what it used to mean even 100 years ago. You know.
Yeah, celebrating. It's not the fall celebration. You know, most of them were all just harvest. We're thankful that, we got crops this year for go through the winter.
We all gonna
Let's
go back
go
to
for
pagan
that,
beliefs.
you
So
know.
when you think about it, that it's still equivalent to why most people celebrate Thanksgiving.
Right, it's just you're just thankful to
It's
to
still
still
your
have.
harvest.
Right,
You see.
right.
It's a modern harvest, but
Right,
it's still a
right.
harvest.
You know,
Yeah, that's what
we
you're thankful
don't
about.
compare it to the Pilgrims and all that anymore. I mean, it's like.
Turkey Day.
You know, I know the turkeys are like, man, y'all
I'm
can eat
about to say,
something
what
different.
about
Friday?
Friday, Black Friday. Like, hey, now
about the
come
turkey?
spend your money in Christmas.
Go
What
in
about
the
the
dance.
turkeys? What do the turkeys think about Turkey Day? And like,
Going nothing to do with that. Like,
Yeah.
Hey,
man,
y'all
Go
remember
get
we
the
were
kids.
talking about what if aliens were like,
aliens
were like people and we were like
Some
chicken,
food and
some
shit.
food.
It's like,
We were talking about
president.
What,
we
aliens?
were like chicken.
That sounds
I'm
familiar.
ordering
And
20
the
piece.
aliens
Yes.
were from the earth.
Yeah, ordering
Yes.
20 piece. Come order 20 piece. That's like, oh, there's 20 right there. I got 20 piece chicken.
aliens?
You know? That's why I'm saying
food for
that
aliens?
one that Saturday with all those fights. I'm like, ooh, they tenderizing that.
Right.
20 piece. I want a 20 piece tender. Okay, we need a UFC fight next week. We'll have 10 cards. Because they ordered a 20
Everybody
piece.
get an alert on the phone. 20 people. Oh, they ordered 20 people.
All right,
Go
right.
ahead, go
Oh,
on.
shit.
Go on high.
They got a family pack here.
You just tasted like chicken's egg.
That's what it started as.
Yeah.
It tastes like chicken. So
Right, right.
aliens would come and eat us like, nah, it tastes like chicken.
Right.
Ordered 20 pieces.
Ooh, I love me some deep fried Negro, boy. Let me tell you.
That's smoked chicken.
Yeah.
That's smoked chicken.
That's
Yeah.
smoked. Yeah, that would be
Because
good.
we all chicken.
Yo,
All of us.
instead of Amber Alert, oh shit, there's an order coming in. Yo, don't
Right.
go outside for a while.
They only want
Turn the
white.
lights off.
They only want white bread. Okay,
Yeah, we need to
I'm
order
good.
that.
They only want white bread.
Everybody got some part words. We
No,
better
they
wrap
want
it
the
up,
darkness.
man.
Oh man, hey, listen, man, we appreciate y'all for being here, man. Thank y'all for sitting here all the
Absolutely.
time. Bless y'all. My name is Big Ruck.
Brother Run.
Brother Los.
Brother Jam.
And don't forget to go to the Daily Smoke store
Yeah.
and grab
Get
some
some
merchandise,
merch, please.
man.
Help us out.
And trust me,
It's gonna be
especially like, well, really, the mugs and the shirts and the hoodies. Because we're gonna have some stuff coming up for y'all
Yeah.
regarding those 3 items specifically. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
y'all go to the store and show some love, man.
Please, please, please. And hey, again, it's Christmas time. Any donations are welcome.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Cash
most
App,
definitely. It's the Daily Smoke.
dollar
Dollar
smoke.
sign,
So hey,
the
y'all,
Daily Smoke.
y'all feeling in a giving mood, help us out, and we promise it's gonna be. You're in for a treat.
Yeah, y'all gonna see what it's going to.
Yeah.
Most definitely. All right, y'all. So this is the Daily Smoke, and we are out. Peace.
You got to run your phone, dude.
How do you?
Weed time.
Oh, how do you do it?
That's not what she said.
Oh, that's the phone.
Yeah.
How you doing on the
I don't know how.
Hey, y'all still here? Yeah, let's. You need that little thing where they show the X's and the number.
Yeah, sorry.